had nails. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's Caitlin. Okay, I usually don't make posts multiple times a week because I work full-time and I'm depressed, and that in itself, depression is a full-time job on top of a full-time job. So I have two full-time jobs. But the Oscars were Sunday, and I've low-key been kind of like looking forward to them. And I was a little underwhelmed, to say at the very least. I was a little underwhelmed, but I want to come on and talk about a few key moments. So if you didn't know, yeah, the Oscars were Sunday. Of course, I'm going to talk about outfits, and then I'm going to talk about movies, which one thing I would like to say, actually, let me look this up first so I don't sound dumb just in case. Okay, I looked it up. Sometimes certain things, like, just don't qualify because of when they were released or something to that effect. And I was so shocked that the Iron Claw starring Zac Efron got snubbed, because I definitely called a Best Actor award for him for that. That is probably the best I have ever seen Zac Efron. If you have not seen the Iron Claw, even if you are not a fan of sports, I highly recommend it. I don't give a damn about wrestling, but the movie was so good, so moving. This is his best work of his career thus far. He set the bar so high for himself. I'm not really used to seeing him in like more serious emotional movies. You know, you've seen him in like Baywatch, Neighbors, of course, High School Musical. This was so different, and he was so good, and the emotion was so raw, and the story was just so compelling and heartbreaking. I'm so honestly surprised, shocked, and sick that it did not get any nominations, because I definitely could have seen him winning Best Actor, which went to Cillian Murphy, I think. Cillian Murphy. However you say this man's name, I've never heard anybody say it before, and I always say Cillian for some reason. Just because he's like, what, Irish, Scottish, something like that. So that was a really big shock to me. Another that was kind of surprising, but not that much, because it's the Oscars, and you know, they're very Caucasian. Emma Stone winning for Best Actress over Lily Gladstone, which I'm sure anybody could have called it. Do you really think they would have gave an indigenous native woman the Oscar for Best Actress? Of fucking course not. They'll throw you breadcrumbs here and there, but they'll never actually give you the whole loaf. Now, don't get me wrong. There's no hate to Emma Stone, because I saw Poor Things, and it's a weird movie, but it's very good, and she was very good in it. And I was like, she's probably gonna win for Best Actress, and I bet costume design is gonna win too, which it did. So costume design won, Emma Stone won, which I'm not surprised at all. Poor Things, even though it's one of those like stranger, quirkier movies, it got a lot of hype. Like, I was seeing ads for it on TikTok. Like, people were eating that shit up, and you didn't really know what to expect. It's like, it has ancestral roots, I think, in horror movies, like in Frankenstein and stuff like that. But it's just different. And I think if you go into it with a certain concept of what you think it's going to be, you're going to be completely surprised once you see it, because I'm sure it'll have actually nothing to do with what you thought it was going to be. But it is such a great story in the sense that, like, her character, Bella Baxter, is a woman who comes into her own, like, especially, it looks very, it reminds me of those older, almost period type pieces where, you know, it gives me like the feel that it's around the same time as like Sweeney Todd, if you've ever seen Sweeney Todd. If not, I really don't know how else to like explain it to you. And her just coming into her own and like shitting on these societal standards. It was just so good. And I also thought, while we're on the topic of that movie, I also thought that Mark Ruffalo would have definitely won Best Supporting Actor, which was another surprise of the night. and Robert Downey Jr. got it, and it's his first Oscar. And they talked about his basically rise to superstardom. You know, he came onto the scene whenever he did, in what, like the early 90s? I don't remember. It's before I was born. Came onto the scene, had all these issues with drugs, and then really, really, really just had the fucking comeback of a lifetime. And honestly, I think Iron Man had a lot to do with that, because that shit really, in my opinion, I always think he was like a superstar and like a really great actor, but him playing Iron Man really just gave him the comeback that he needed and was necessary for him to shoot to superstardom. He was amazing in Oppenheimer. I'm not surprised that Oppenheimer had like a crazy sweep of awards, because it was really good, even though it's like fucking 4 hours long. But Robert Downey Jr., that was a surprise to me, but still very happy for him, even though he is just another white man. But I figured Oppenheimer would have like a sweep of awards. Into the Spider-Verse not winning Best Animated Movie was such a shock to me. I heard things about, you know, the movie that did win. I can't think of the name of it, but I know Robert Pattinson's in it. And that's pretty much all I heard about it. Into the Spider-Verse getting snubbed just really, I'm not surprised. Because accolades like the Oscars and the Grammys, I don't think are a show of talent or how good something actually is or what impact on culture it had most of the time. Sometimes it is representative of those things, but in this case, I don't think it necessarily was. And then I was also kind of surprised Oppenheimer won for Best Cinematography. It is a very beautiful movie. Christopher Nolan do be doing it. Don't get me wrong. He is a hell of a director. I'd die to work with him one day. But I think Poor Things was just so visually... I just wanted to like... It was incredible. Anyways. So onto some good moments from the Oscars that I personally think were like great moments, because these award shows can get stale and tired and this, that, and the other. Robert Downey Jr. winning, and then him always, no matter what award he wins, he always turns it back to his wife. He said, basically, you found me, I was a feral rescue animal, and you made me into like, you know, you molded me into something that was lovable and worth living with. And he always credits her from dragging him back from the brink of ruining his career, of probably mental collapse. And I love that. He loves this woman so out loud. I love that for her. So that was a nice moment, because I'm a Robert Downey Jr. stan, actually. John Cena talking about the importance of costume design. I feel like costume design, makeup, hair, things like that are things that have significantly been like snubbed in the past. So just talking about the importance of it, nude, really just set a point across. And I really feel like it could have turned out bad. It could have been a flop moment, and I don't think it was. So, you know what? Yes. Showing the dog and then showing Ryan Gosling saying dog was a good moment. It's like he really is kin. Sometimes I feel like there's no thoughts going on behind those eyes, and I can't even be mad about it. Speaking of Ryan Gosling, motherfuckers thought it was a joke that he was gonna perform I'm Just Kin. And not only did he perform it, he ate the fuck down. He ate the fuck down. And I'm willing to die on this hill that I'm a Ryan Gosling stan. He also loves the fuck out of his wife out loud. He has so much range. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse prepared this man for a lifetime of superstardom. And then another cool moment is the Godzilla team, who all had the Godzilla claw as a heel on their shoes. I thought that was super cute. That's just me. Now we're going to talk about outfits, duh. As I sit here in my alma mater t-shirt, and stretchy leggings with my hair not even remotely close to being done. And who gonna pop me? Anyways, Zendaya, of course, she never misses. I mean, let me not say that. I mean, reel that back in. I didn't really like that many of her looks from Dune. I can think of a couple from Dune 2, from the premieres. I can think of a couple other times where I didn't love her looks, but I really liked this look that she had on. She always looks beautiful. Zendaya is just a beautiful girl. Like, her face card will never ever decline, even if her outfit does. Davon Randolph, that's how Jamie Lee Curtis said it, I think. So I hope I'm not saying it wrong. But I think she looks stunned in her blue ensemble. I thought it was very, very cute. Carey Mulligan had on a super classic, just like old Hollywood type look. And I think it really, really worked for her. Even though there was a lot of black on the red carpet, and that was kind of boring and stale. But I think hers worked. It had like the pop of white. The silhouette looked really great on her. It just looked really good, really old Hollywood. It was kind of giving Audrey Hepburn vibes to me. Lupita, she had like, her dress was a similar color to Davine, but I liked the fit on her. I liked the color. America Ferrera, I think she looked fucking great. And you might just be like, oh, she just had on like a plain pink gown. Bitch, so what? So the fuck what? This was her moment. Like, the whole Barbie press tour was about Margot. And don't get me wrong, Margot is Barbie. She should have got a lot of attention for it. And her outfits for it were amazing. But I think America was giving Barbie. It was giving body. It was giving womanhood, girlhood. I think she looked so great. And with the little bob, her body was tea. And I'm glad that everybody else on the Barbie team, was like Ryan Gosling in his I'm Just Kim performance outfit, everybody else kind of dialed it back in, and she was the one from the cast who like really shine. And I think she looks so great. And I think she's so deserving, because she was the heart and soul of that movie, even though she is not Barbie. Who else, bitch? Heidi Klum looked really good. She has some hit or misses in my opinion, but I think she looked really good. She looked really stunning, really happy. Marrying Old Boy from Tokyo Hotel really just must have like done it for her. She always looks great, but she really looked like she was glowing. And Haley Steinfeld, it was giving me fairy forest nymph type vibes, and it was so cute, and it was so flowy, and it just looked so magical and majestic on her. Like, her style is A down. Her style is 8 down. Okay, let's talk about who looked a mess. Melissa McCarthy, it was a no for me. I love her. I think she's so funny, but the dress was a no from me. Emma Stone, I did not like. I don't know. I don't think it was very flattering on her. And then the bottom of her dress looked bunchy. And then she had a malfunction whenever she went up to get her award, where her dress was like busted in the back or something. So like, can the designers get it together for this woman? This is Best Actress. Jennifer Lawrence, I didn't like either of her dresses really. They just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of polka dots, really, of any nature. So it just wasn't giving what it needed to give for me. It was giving like 1950s housewife, and here's my little house dress that I'm gonna put on while I go like do the dishes and make a pot roast. I just didn't love it. Cynthia Erivo, it was probably like, her dress was probably a nod to Wicked, but the fabric and the material and the style of the dress, just, I didn't really like it. It kind of looked like she was representing Godzilla more than she was representing Wicked, because it was like a leather pleather green, and it kind of had like these bigger ruffles that were made out of leather. So it just looked I don't think it was very flattering on her, which was upsetting. Julianne Hough, no. Um, it was like a super high-waisted pantsuit she had on. So it was like right under her boobs, and then the legs were super big and flowy. It was just like a strange look on her. A strange look altogether. It probably looked strange on anybody who would put it on, but I just didn't love it. And then Erica Alexander. But one thing I will say, another fashion moment, I guess I will say, of people who really did what they needed to do. Members of the Osage Nation showed up, and incredible. And like I guess like traditional type wear. They looked so good. I really love the representation. I really love Lily Gladstone going and giving Indigenous and Native reporters like interviews and a chance to like speak with her. She's so real. She's so like, you could tell she is so representative and like loving of her culture and of this movie, and I really just love that. Because this is a big deal, because that's representation that we don't usually see. So shout out to the Osage Nation for showing the fuck up. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this year's Oscars. If you had any favorite looks, any not favorite looks, any surprises that you were kind of like shook up by, let me know in the comments, because I love to talk about this shit. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.